So my wife literally begged me to go back to her Asian nail place. For these past 3 weeks, she's been doing black-owned businesses for her nails, and this is what I noticed. She told me that she has to have an appointment.
These responses, or at least responses like this, confuse me. I just peeped the fact that your username is Lorenzo Ramos, but you're an Asian? It's giving bot. It's giving bot. Because the Asian community will sit here and say that black people are thieves, black people are animals, black people are less deserving, black people, did I say they steal? And we don't even have to go into all of the other racism and anti-black rhetoric that comes out of the Asian community, especially since this ordeal has began, and how openly racist and openly hateful y'all have openly become within the last 2-3 weeks. Even if we just stayed at black people steal, and Asians feel like black people steal from their store all the time and are always going to steal. I find it confusing because why is it that it's a bad thing that we hear that, and we at this moment we are now saying, along with the boycott because of the disrespect, we are going to take this moment to step back, hear what y'all are saying about us, reassess why you guys think that we steal, why you guys think that we're less than, why do you think that we're undeserving, and reconceptualize that and repurpose how we view those spaces that we are viewed in those negative lights, and build it for ourselves. So we don't have to seem like we're stealing your hair products if we're going to our own hair products. I have to de-threaten myself, make myself look more approachable or whatnot. So these Asian people aren't threatened by my black skin or my blackness or my aggressive tone in the way I speak. And it's not that I'm aggressive, I'm just black, and in New York and in America. I don't know what more we can do to make you people satisfied with us as a people. We stop coming to your stores. You're telling us that you don't want us in your stores. Why are you attacking me for telling black people to shop with other black people? Case in point, I stopped going to the Asian-owned hair store and started going to the black-owned hair store. And you know what? I've never been blamed or accused of stealing out of the hair store before. But I'm not being followed neither. But I don't have somebody on my ass walking around behind me making sure I don't steal something, because the lady at the front desk that I walked in and said hi to was a black girl, and she know I'm just not gonna steal nothing. Like, but when it comes to an Asian owner, and every different Asian owned hair store I go into, I have to make sure that I de-violence myself in front of them or make myself look like I'm not as...
CBS News reports that ICE is preparing to increase enforcement involving some Haitian migrants as temporary protected status, or TPS, is set to end. The report says the plans could affect hundreds of thousands of Haitians currently living in the U.S. This is a major policy change that could impact many families. What do you think?
I know. America's busiest airports, a massive immigration operation plays out daily, just beyond your next gate.
It's astounding, just the number of people that are moved daily.
If you think you know where they're headed, you don't.
What we're seeing over the past year is just chaos.
Pero no sabíamos para dónde. Yo no sabía para dónde íbamos.
Before the U.S. sends thousands out of the country,
people are being treated like Amazon packages, kind of just shuffled about.
it flies them across it.
I had a client detained in Maryland who ended up in Louisiana, then in Texas, then finally to Tacoma, where I met her.
Hidden within millions of lines of data, a billion-dollar network moves quietly.
It can be, within hours of arrest.
We found the planes, the routes, and the people.
And then we're told the client isn't in New Mexico anymore, the client is in Louisiana.
And I think that's part of their game.
Y no podemos llamar, no podemos hacer una llamada, ¿dónde estamos?
An investigation of what happens in the miles between arrest and removal.
Huge amounts of funding from the U.S. government are going in with very little oversight.
This is what the government calls ICE air.
They could literally be moved overnight and I won't know.
That a young man has been detained. Now, this did come just a couple weeks back, but we just learned that this man is believed to be living legally here in Springfield with his family. And I reached out to the Department of Homeland Security, who was able to issue a response. Now they're telling us that he is in fact in ICE custody. So we will not be sharing the identity of this individual at this time until they are formally charged. When I talked to James Support Center, he told me it's believed that the young man was living under some set of government protections here, whether that be TPS, asylum, or other related statuses. He says the young man had just celebrated his birthday and went to Kings Island with a couple of friends. According to the family, they were pulled over at some point in Greene County when they were on the way back to Springfield. Now, Fleury-Jean says the young man was in the car with two other Haitian individuals who are also believed to be living under protections, but for some reason, they only detained this young man.
So you stay here, you answer our questions, or you suffer the consequences.
And I'm excited to welcome to the stage our next United States Senator from the great state of Texas, State Representative James Talarico.
How are you gonna earn the militant Democrat, black Democratic vote? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit down with us and talk to us, have the real heart-to-heart?
So you stay here, you answer our questions, or you suffer the consequences.
So I'm happy to engage. We'll come to here in just a second. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you traveling in, and I appreciate you.
For my people, not for you.
And I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. And it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. This is what this conversation is supposed to be about. Yeah. So.
This country has given reparations and support the state of Israel since 1960. This is the year that I was born. We've also given reparations to the Japanese as well. With the onslaught of police brutality of Black Americans here in America, this has been going on for some time now. Do you support reparations, and would you legislate for an anti-black crime bill? Thank
you. Restoration, repairing past harms is part of my faith tradition. It's part of the values I was raised with. And it's exactly why we need a lot of the policies we've been talking about here to invest in Black communities, to invest in Black Texans, whether it's tuition relief, whether it's home ownership grants, whether it is baby bonds to ensure that we are helping to build that generational wealth, we have to correct the injustices of our past. I talked about Sand Branch, Texas. I don't think I mentioned that Sand Branch is a freedmen community. So we are seeing the reverberations of slavery in modern day Texas, all over the place. And until we as a society are committed to righting those past wrongs, of restoring our black communities, we're never gonna be able to get this country back on track. And so we, I think in this election, have a prime opportunity. Because not only is this a Senate seat that could determine the Senate majority, but all of you know that if we win Texas with a room that looks like this, that is gonna be an earthquake in American politics. It will transform the politics of this nation, and it will allow us to build the political will to be able to repair those past harms. Part of what you asked is about a crime bill. In the state legislature, I had a constituent of mine murdered by the police. His name was Javier Ambler. He was an unarmed black man who was pulled over for not dimming his brights. He told the officers that night that he had a heart condition. They tased him so many times that he died right in front of them. The whole thing was filmed for a reality TV show called Live PD. It's kind of like Cops. I worked with Javier Ambler's family, his sister Kimberly. She and I started to do some digging, and we found that there's an incredible amount of research on these reality TV policing programs. That these programs encourage more violent interactions between law enforcement and their constituents, particularly their black constituents. And so Kimberly and I, we walked the halls of the legislature. We went office to office, Democrats and Republicans alike, and we passed Javier Ambler's law, which bans reality TV policing in the state of Texas. No longer can a reality TV show like Live PD or Cops contract with a law enforcement agency in Texas at any level, local, county, or state. But that same session, Representative Rose, you remember this, the George Floyd Act didn't even make it to the House floor. So while we made progress for Javier, while we made progress in banning these reality TV policing programs, we failed to pass the George Floyd Act, which would have been transformational in ensuring that police officers are actually protecting and serving all of us. And I hope that when we win this seat, when we win a Senate majority, we will be able to pass federal legislation to protect all Americans from police violence, including our black communities. So thank
this country has given reparations and support the state of Israel since 1960. Which is the year that I was born. We've also given reparations to Japanese as well. With the onslaught of police brutality of black Americans here in America, this has been going on for some time now. Do you support reparations, and would you legislate for an anti-black crime bill?
Thank you. Restoration, repairing past harms is part of my faith tradition. It's part of the values I was raised with. And it's exactly why we need a lot of the policies we've been talking about here to invest in black communities, to invest in black Texans, whether it's tuition relief, whether it's home ownership grants, whether it is baby bonds to ensure that we are helping to build that generational wealth. We have to correct the injustices of our past. I talked about Sand Branch, Texas. I don't think I mentioned that Sand Branch is a freedmen community. So we are seeing the reverberations of slavery in modern day Texas, all over the place. And until we as a society are committed to righting those past wrongs, of restoring our black communities, we're never gonna be able to get this country back on track. And so we, I think, in this election have a prime opportunity. Because not only is this a Senate seat that could determine the Senate majority, but all of you know that if we win Texas with a room that looks like this, that is going to be an earthquake in American politics. It will transform the politics of this nation, and it will allow us to build the political will to be able to repair those past harms. Part of what you asked is about a crime bill. In the state legislature, I had a constituent of mine murdered by the police. His name was Javier Ambler. He was an unarmed black man who was pulled over for not dimming his brights. He told the officers that night that he had a heart condition. They tased him so many times that he died right in front of them. The whole thing was filmed for a reality TV show called Live PD. It's kind of like Cops. I worked with Javier Ambler's family, his sister Kimberly. She and I started to do some digging, and we found that there's an incredible amount of research on these reality TV policing programs. That these programs encourage more violent interactions between law enforcement and their constituents, particularly their black constituents. And so Kimberly and I, we walked the halls of the legislature. We went office to office, Democrats and Republicans alike, and we passed Javier Ambler's law, which bans reality TV policing in the state of Texas. No longer can a reality TV show like Live PD or Cops contract with a law enforcement agency in Texas at any level, local, county, or state. But that same session, Representative Rose, you remember this, the George Floyd Act didn't even make it to the House floor. So while we made progress for Javier, while we made progress in banning these reality TV policing programs, we failed to pass the George Floyd Act, which would have been transformational in ensuring that police officers are actually protecting and serving all of us. And I hope that when we win this seat, when we win a Senate majority, we will be able to pass federal legislation to protect all Americans from police violence, including our black communities. So thank you.
I've been paying attention to the conversations happening around the Texas Senate race, and I've seen some black voters say they're not planning to vote for James Talarico. Some say he hasn't clearly explained what he'll do for black Texans. Others are talking about sitting the election out altogether or writing in Jasmine Crockett's name. And before I say anything else, let me be very clear. I understand the frustration. Black voters have every right to ask the hard questions. We have every right to demand more than campaign slogans. And we have every right to expect politicians to earn our vote instead of assuming they're entitled to it. Those concerns are real, and they're part of a larger conversation happening among black voters across Texas right now. But I think we need to ask ourselves an uncomfortable question. Are we making this decision out of frustration, or are we making it strategically? Because those are not the same thing. Let's call it what it is. There's no perfect choice for us. It's a choice between James Talarico and Ken Paxton. That's the reality in front of us. The question is, which future do you want for Texas moving forward? Whether we like it or not, politics is about power. And if black voters decide to stay home because they're frustrated, hey, that frustration may be justified. But we still have to ask what outcome that decision creates, because a decision will be made. I think this moment requires long-term thinking. Imagine a Texas where James Talarico wins the Senate and Gina wins the governor's office. Now, would that solve every problem facing black Texans? No. Would it suddenly make politicians trustworthy? No. Would it mean we stop demanding accountability? Absolutely not. But it would represent a major shift in who holds power in Texas and what conversations become possible moving forward. Too often we treat elections as a way to express how we feel in the moment, but history shows that lasting political change usually happens when communities think beyond the moment and focus on building power over time. So ask yourself, are you voting based on frustration, or are you voting based on the future you want for Texas to have? And sometimes the most strategic decision isn't about finding the perfect candidate. It's about deciding which future creates more opportunity to keep pushing for the change that you want to see tomorrow.
What are you going to do to rebuke and admonish your supporters
All right.
in Syracuse attacking it went beyond Congresswoman Crockett. Yes, beyond. What are you going to do to rebuke the likes of Keith Edwards, Roe DNC, and David Piper, that voice actor, who harasses and threatens black politicos, who politicians in this area depend on to promote voting education and voting mobilization. But when they're harassing us simply because we are active voters who want our candidate to be held accountable because he tells us to hold him accountable.
Let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. If you claim to be my supporter, if you claim to be a part of this movement that we are building, please keep Congresswoman Crockett's name out of your mouth.
All right, thank you. And when it comes to the black voters in Texas, that's the end of the conversation right there. When it comes to Jasmine Crockett, that's the end of the conversation right there. There is nothing that black voters need to do. It's James Talarico that needs to do something for black voters. All of these racist, white leftists, and these fake progressives that are attacking black people, black women, black political leaders in Texas constantly, James Talarico himself is calling you out and telling you to stop. And after checking the accounts of all the people that were mentioned, none of them got the message. Take a look. Take a look. Pause and take a look. This is what they're saying. They don't care. They didn't hear anything that was said. They, if anything, are getting angrier. They are going to double down on this. And when everything backfires, they are already saying this. It's Jasmine Crockett's fault. They're going to just blame black voters. They're going to say it's their fault, not their racism. They're not going to say, what did we do wrong to not appeal to black voters? They're going to just say, Jasmine Crockett and black people in Texas fucked us over, and that's why we lost. I'm so fucking sick of these people. But I will say, credit to James Talarico. It's easy to call out your enemies, but it is hard to call out your supporters and the people that are on your side. And this is a good first step to show some kind of goodwill, but I mean, man, it's really late, and it's a long time the black voters in Texas have felt ignored on their issues and about their perspectives. So this guy's got a lot of work to do, and this is a good first step, and I hope he keeps this energy going.
Black people don't deserve reparations for slavery because it was so long ago and no one alive today experienced it, so they say. That's their reasoning. But even when it wasn't that long ago, and someone who directly experienced it tried to get reparations, they weren't given. This is Matilda McCreer, the last known survivor of the transatlantic slave trade. She was born in West Africa in 1857 and illegally brought to Mobile, Alabama when she was 2 years old. And she died on January 13th, 1940. That means that all of these people were alive when she passed away, and they're still alive today. Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood, Willie Nelson, Buzz Aldrin, Warren Buffett, and more. When she was brought to the United States alongside her mother and her sister, the children were sold away, never to be reunited with each other nor their mother. After gaining her independence in 1865, she worked as a sharecropper and had 14 children with a German-born man. But don't worry, from what I could find, the black in the bloodline did not get completely wiped out. These are two of her great-great-grandchildren. But back to the reparations. In her 70s, in the 1930s, Matilda tried to get reparations, and her claim was dismissed. So this idea that it was so long ago, no one alive experienced it, a bullshit excuse. Because even if it wasn't so long ago and you yourself experienced it, they don't give a fuck.
We want tangibles as foundational black Americans. And we're not going to let them redefine what reparations mean, right? Is reparations student loan debt? No. Is reparations HBCU funding? No. Is reparations minority business loans? No. Is reparations catfish nuggets? No. What's reparations? Money! What's reparations? Money! What's reparations? Money! Give yourselves a round of applause. Now, family, when we talk about reparations, we get the same 7 rebuttals from the dominant society, and we need to know how to address their rebuttals when we talk about what we need to get as far as reparations. The first thing that they say is, well, wouldn't reparations be divisive? Wouldn't that make people in the dominant society not like you? Are you here to be liked by the dominant society? Tina Turner told us, what's love got to do with it? We're trying to get our money. We're already divided, but they control our resources. So we want them to divide our money and give it back to us because we're owed a debt as foundational Black Americans. The second thing that they try to tell us is, well, other people suffered, it just wasn't Black people. Irish people were enslaved. Italian people were lynched. Native Americans were mistreated, and they're not complaining, so why are you Blacks complaining? Well, the thing is, these people are not complaining because they were compensated. The Irish, who were indentured servants, they got something called freedom dues after their contract ran out. They got money, land, and weapons. They were compensated. Then they were brought into white society to join all the benefits and reap all the gains of being white. When the Italians were lynched down in New Orleans, there was a situation where there was a mass lynching of Italians. Their families were compensated, and the country of Italy was compensated, and the Italians were allowed into white society to reap the benefits. The Native Americans, we know the red ones, they were compensated. They broke off all types of money, and many of them enslaved us as well, so they need to be cutting a check too. The third rebuttal that they have for us is, well, if you want to get reparations, FBAs, why don't you go to the Africans who sold you? Have y'all heard that one? Well, I say to that, number one, the African who sold us, well, he got a one-off. Number two, those countries don't exist no more. Those countries over there were colonized, and they were absorbed into the white European power structure, so all of their resources were drained. So they need to get the resources from the white power structure in Europe that dominated them, while we're getting money from the white power structure that dominated us, the United States government. Another rebuttal, they say, well, all white people didn't even own slaves during slavery. So how are white people responsible? We didn't all own slaves, but it was a slave economy where everybody benefited from the slave economy. So if you were a white person in the 1800s working for the train station economy was built on the resources that were taken back and forth from the south to the north. So you owe. If you worked for an insurance company in the 1800s, yeah, you didn't own a slave, but you were insuring slaves and you were making money off slavery. If you were a white person in the 1800s working for a bank or a factory, you were getting all the raw materials and refining it in those northern factories, benefiting from slavery. So the whole economy was based on the labor of our foundational Black American ancestors. The next rebuttal is, well, my family came over after the Civil War. So I wasn't even here during slavery. So how do I owe? When your family was over there in the slums of Europe, they heard about a country that was built up off the wealth from the free labor of our ancestors. And they knew that that wealth was mass distributed from our hands into white society and locked in racially. And they sat over there in Europe and said, sign me up, I want to go over there and be a part of that. So since you want to be a part of it, you're part of the debt and you owe too. The sixth one they say is, well, there's already been reparations paid to Black people. Welfare and affirmative action. Number one, welfare was created for white women in the 1930s. Number two, most welfare recipients in America are white people in middle America. The welfare capital is Owsley County, Kentucky, where 99% of the people are white and on welfare. That's the welfare capital. And as far as affirmative action, we know that affirmative action benefits white women more than anybody. So is affirmative action reparations? No! Exactly. And the last thing they say, family, they say, well, listen, why should I, as a good white person, be on the hook for something that I didn't do? Why should my tax dollars pay for something that I didn't do? I didn't own a slave. Did any of you remove red Native Americans from their land? Your tax dollars go to pay for them now. Did any of you put people in concentration camps in Germany? Your tax dollars go to pay off some of the victims of the Holocaust. Did any of you put Japanese Americans in internment camps in World War II? But your tax dollars go to pay the Japanese families. Did anybody here fly a plane in the World Trade Center? You know some of your tax dollars go to those victims too. Did you create a war in Afghanistan? Billions of your tax dollars go to the Afghanistani people. Did you cause a war in the Ukraine? Billions of your tax dollars go to the Ukrainian citizens. So since we're giving all of our tax dollars to these people who are not even citizens for the most part, we're going to make sure the real compensation and the real check is going to be cut for the people who deserved it, who built this country from the ground up, who cultivated the culture in this country. Foundational Black Americans, ladies and gentlemen. Say reparations! FBA! All right, give yourselves a round of applause.
When do I get my reparations from the Roman Empire? When do I get them from the Vikings?
You're forgetting about the racism, which means that you're leading with your bigotry, your agenda, whether that be your personal agenda or journalistic. It could be journalistic. We know these times. DB News. No.
You just talked about bigotry. You just accused someone who's asking you questions of bigotry.
No, because you wouldn't say this to a Jew. You wouldn't say this to a Jew, Julia. You wouldn't talk about the Jews in terms of the Holocaust. You wouldn't talk about the Jews in terms of anti-Semitism. You wouldn't say to the Jews, well, you need to get over it. It was in the past. And you shouldn't talk about the fact that anti-Semitism has risen in the last, I don't know, a few months since all of those issues around the world. You wouldn't say that to Jews, but you're saying it to me because I'm black.